I went out and bought an EV. So what did I do? Why did I do it? And what happened? Well, we're going to go through it. And if you're wondering if it went according to plan, no, it didn't. There are lots of pitfalls, and I probably fell into most of them. And we're going to go through it. And hopefully you won't hit the same ones I did by watching this video. I think I did a lot of things right, too. I'm going to talk to you about the financial risks. I'm going to talk to you about the risks of bringing them home. I'm going to talk to you about the government programs where you can save money. Your local utility wants to give you money. But if you don't do it just right, you won't get those incentives. I'm going to take you through what it takes to get a level 2 charger installed and up and running. It's not as easy as plugging it in. Hopefully my house is future-proofed. I'm going to walk you through a lot of this and hopefully help you avoid some of the mistakes I made. I'm a Lexus owner. So when I went through everything and went into the Lexus dealership, I test drove the Lexus, and knowing Lexus service, knowing what they stand for, knowing that this is a new technology and I'm not sure what problems I'm going to have, and having their service behind it, I was more comfortable staying with Lexus and with the Toyota company behind the product and moving into that vehicle. It does do 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds. And I haven't had a car that's been fast since I was 25. What are the downsides? My house is 100 years old. Our electrical system had been upgraded, but it had been upgraded 30 years ago. So not only did we need to install a level 2 charger, we needed to replace the panel in the house. We could now charge 2 EVs if we want. You may find your utility company is willing to give you a discount for charging during off hours. And you're going to look at that program and go, this is wonderful. Then you're going to look up the vehicle you're buying. It's going to give you the by make and model. It may give you by year. It may give you by trim. Look at that very, very carefully. What I found is you have to look at the year too, because my year isn't yet qualified. And the charger I have isn't one of the chargers they list. If we're supposed to be getting incentivized, utility companies could move a little quicker. I also have my Tesla charger. I don't see why that can't be included. They only include 3 chargers. Where did I go right? The way I purchased this vehicle is through a lease. And I say purchase. I structured it so that there were a lot of incentives on the lease program. Huge incentives. My payments are low monthly and the buyout is low. The charging port on this car is a J1772. I mentioned that earlier. The J1772 is being replaced by the NACS. Lexus has said there will be an adapter available for this vehicle. I don't know if I want to stay with this vehicle because in 3 years, I don't know what's going to happen. There's the range wars. This car's rated for 220 miles. There's no national standard on range. Toyota, Lexus sets their range standards one way, very conservatively. From what I can tell, it's incredibly conservative. I just drove to my office, which is roughly 9 miles from my house. According to the car, I used 2 miles worth of energy with the air conditioning running. In a Tesla, running 3 miles, I go through 11 miles worth of range. They just seem to calculate differently. They seem to have different algorithms. The Hyundai is somewhere in between the two. Now, you can also go into them and set your driving styles different to make them more or less aggressive. I leave them all set at normal. I would recommend you get out and drive as many of these vehicles as you can and drive them for an extended period of time. You can't do this with a dealer test drive. You need to get out and really drive them for ideally several days and see what you get out of them. They all drive differently, and you're going to get different results on each of them. I seem to be getting more miles out of this vehicle than I did out of the Tesla, or at least more out of the predicted mileage. The Tesla definitely gets more miles, more mileage out of its rated battery life. The long range Model Y is rated for 310 miles. This car is rated for nowhere near that. My theory was do it with a lease. If I don't like it in 3 years, I can give it back to the dealer. If I like it, the buyout is low enough, I can buy it and keep it. That hedges my bet. I'm supposed to have an adapter that allows me to use the Tesla supercharger network. That also hedges my bet. I have the level 2 charger at home. With that adapter, I'm going to be on the NACS standard. That hedges my bet. If you're looking at any EV, I would strongly suggest you look at the list of the vehicles that have said they're adopting the NACS standard. If you are looking at a vehicle that isn't moving to that standard, or you're looking at a vehicle on the used market and the automaker hasn't said they'll have an adapter for it, I would strongly suggest you think twice about buying that vehicle. You're going to have a hard time getting a charger that works with it and getting high-speed charging, and you want to be able to get to those DC chargers. Where is this taking businesses, including small businesses? You're selling tires? This is probably good news for you. These EVs have a lot of torque, and they have regenerative braking. They're going to go through tires, and they need tire rotation. You're in great shape. Quick change oil shop, you probably have a problem. They don't need oil changes. My car doesn't need any service for 40,000 miles. This changes the auto industry in a manner that hasn't occurred since Henry Ford started mass production of automobiles. It's a major shift. If you're in an industry that deals with automobiles, you need to look at what this means. Gas stations, you need to start thinking now about what does this mean to you. People are not going to be fueling up. Most EVs will be charged at home or at high-speed chargers. They're not going to be pulling into the traditional gas station. How are you going to adapt to this? But if you look at the legislation that's already been passed in major states, if you look at what's happening in Europe and Asia, if you look at the number of EVs being sold in China, this wave is coming. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take. Embrace the future.